Yasu Athena, my first time in your country. You probably won't know who I am, so I'll introduce myself. I'm David. I run an SME in the UK called Pronto Paints. I get involved in federations. Since 2018, I was the president of the British Coatings Federation, and since last October, I'm now the chairman of CEPE, the European Federation. So the question for today that I wanted to raise is, how does an SME, so a small medium enterprise, keep on top of the legislation, develop new products, serve new markets, and grow in a sustainable fashion? It's quite a question, and hopefully I'll provide some ideas and inspiration during this short talk. So first of all, I wanted to address the problems that we all face. A lack of resources leads to a lack of time to do everything we want to do, and people, money, knowledge, they're all constrained, and that leads to having to outsource things, or you might find you have your own expertise in-house, but when you come into CLP and REACH and lobbying, issues that every firm faces, it's not easy, and we're fighting for regulatory talent across Europe. There's not enough people there, and maybe it's not so attractive for them to work in an SME. They'd rather work for a larger team, work for a federation, or a bigger enterprise in Brussels. So how do we do something about this? We want our teams to be spending time on new products and innovations, less time on the compliance. And I call this the negative spiral, so I don't want to spend too long on negatives today. I'm sure you'll recognize the themes we have in that legislation hits you, and you need to react, you need to spend time working out how it affects your products, and maybe you start to miss out on opportunities. You focus, you're in this tunnel of trying to work out what to do, and you lose time to this. And slowly it gets worse, and we spiral down, and we feel somewhat isolated, especially in the smaller firms. So what can we do to resolve this? I found, and I strongly advocate for this, that if you can join the federation in the country that you're a part of, it gives you the access to the expertise to help solve a lot of those problems that you're facing. You still need to employ your own people for this purpose, but you get your team to work with their team, and in doing that, you find that you have more time to solve your problems. And same as everyone here, everyone says they're too busy to do these things, yet we're all here today. So we must believe there is something in taking part in these events. And I find that if we're honest with ourselves, we can make one day of our time expand into many days across the federation time. So making it work. This is the thing. It's not just signing up to be a member of the federation, it's actually taking part. And as a business leader, it is vital for you to do that. You attend the meetings, you contribute, you find what's coming up in legislation, whether it be national, European, international, and then you can report back to your team what you found, what you've learned, what's going on already to help you solve the problems so you don't feel so isolated. And by doing that, you start to free up more of your time. It's also interesting to find out how your other peers, your other members in the federations are tackling these problems. You'll be amazed how many things unite us. We all have these common issues to face, and it just makes absolute sense to work together on them. So hopefully we now get the regulations under control, and we can start to look at our strengths as a business. And by this, I mean, what are you actually good at? What is it that you find your customers like? So just ask your customers what it is. I'm sure we all make good products, but there's all those extra little things, the service levels, the expertise you can offer in solving their problems. These are the key things to focus on. And you make this your mission. Once you've figured out what it is, as we did at Pronto, you don't try and be everything to everyone as an SME, but you focus again, and you work out where you want to be as a business. And then the next step is to use your strengths within the federation that you're part of. So when you attend these events, you make it known what your niche is, how you can help. And you'll be amazed how many times people So, yes, that was, you have the solution to the problem I'm looking for. And over time, you realize that you maybe not got so many rivals in business, and that the collaboration and working together can be a more effective approach for us all. You can look across the sectors, and not only do we join in with our national federation, we work downstream, so we join associations such as the MPBA, who are modular buildings. One of our strengths is short lead times and a large variety of colours. We have a fully flexible production system, and that suits the kind of industries where they're not quite sure what they'll be painting next week. They know they'll need product. They're waiting for their corporate client to tell them what it is. So we find sectors that fit ideally with our production, and then, funnily enough, our service levels seem good for the customers. We've recently joined in with RIDBA as well in the UK, who are for farm buildings and industrial buildings, and we're keen to grow in that sector also, with structural steel being a new focus for us. So find your voice. This is a key bit for me, that over time, you start to speak at events, you might get asked to come to Athens, 2,000 miles away from home, and people start to seek your opinion. People start to ask you what it is that you can do for them. This is the key part, really, for me in this, in that if I didn't take part as a leader, I wouldn't know what was going on out there, and I wouldn't have these ideas of what I can do to help. So some of my rivals, as I used to call them in the UK, we now make products for them, where we discovered and discussed that my machinery maybe was a better setup for their products, and some of their machinery might be better for my products. So we learn to collaborate together. We retain our brands, we retain our competition, but manufacturing needs to be smarter and linked together more to succeed in the future. This is one of the things I believe. And then the benefits, so you can gain new customers. Federations often get asked by businesses, can you help me solve this problem I have? We've done this on numerous occasions now. You're in competition with your rivals, but it's better to be part of the process than be on the outside looking in. You attend events such as today, an amazing event, where you find out what can happen by networking and talking to each other. A hidden benefit I've discovered over the years, as an SME, you're a leader, you wear many hats, you're often the final decision maker on a lot of things. When you're not on site, it allows your team to grow. You are a bottleneck for your own business at times because everyone wants to make sure they're happy with your decision. But if you're out of the loop, people make their decisions for you, and you trust your team to grow, and this has been a great hidden benefit, that getting away from the business gives me time to think about the business and allows them to get on with operational. There's also huge benefits for the federations that you're a part of if you're more active. The more that you take part in your federation, the stronger it gets. As an example, in the BCF over the last 15 years, they've hired public affairs people, marketing, sustainability, future careers people. All of these are then experts that can help the members with their own challenges, and it's a virtuous circle. We've got out of the spiral, and we can start to do more things together. So moving on to CEPE, which is one of the reasons why I'm here today. So within CEPE, you are already a member if you're a member of the national association that you work for. This gives you access to all of the CEPE working groups, committees. I've got a list of the current topics. So bisphenol A, melamine, isocyanates, microplastics. These are all big topics for our industry, and CEPE has got working groups and expertise on these already. Through our work with CEPE, I've also managed to expand our own business, working with French, German, Irish companies, and Italy up and down the supply chain. So the big question maybe, did it work? So this is Pronto's business figures. The line across there is when I took over running the business after the owner passed away, sadly. We've grown nearly fourfold to about 15 million euros. So we're still very small, but we're heading in a nice direction. and we're working together with our partners to grow further in the coming years. One of the things I'd like to encourage is, if you will, take part in our national associations, and with CEPE, this collaborative approach, I believe, can work for us all. There's no reason why it can't succeed, and we feel less isolated and work together. A final comment from me: I don't expect to know what I'm making in 10 years' time. Maybe that's crazy as a business, but I react to what's in front of me and who I work with. Our flexibility in the factory allows me to take that approach and work with upstream, downstream, whoever it may be. And I look forward to working with you all through CEPE in the coming years. And I'd like to thank you for your time today and your attention.